Hello everyone, welcome back to Fantasy Forge. I'm Cameron Holt, and this is part 1 of my new series, Homemade Monsters. In this series, I'm going to tell you about various homebrew D&D monsters that I've come up with over the years, while also taking the time to finally make the official artwork for them. Later in the video, we'll also create an encounter using the monster so that you can have an idea of how I would use it in one of my games. Who knows, maybe someday I'll make my own 5e supplement book of monsters, but until then, you can find the stat blocks in the description down below if you want to use any of these creatures in your own games. But for now, it's time to quit stalling and go ahead and hop into today's homemade monster, Inklings. The heavy wooden door slowly creaks open as it is pushed inward by the cloaked halfling. She gives her hood a tug to keep her face hidden. Loose papers and scroll casings are strewn about the wizard's study, but she only has eyes for one, the absent conjurer's grimoire. She reaches out for the spell-scrawled tome atop the wizard's desk, but quickly pulls her hand back as she feels a burning sting. She looks down to see a viscous, oily black ooze peeking out from the book, holding a few of her severed fingers within its sinister grin. Inklings are pixie-like ooze that are small, curious sorts. Originating within the Feywild, they can speak Common and Sylvan telepathically, but can read and understand any written language. With the ability to compress their tiny bodies to be completely flat, Inklings are mischievous tricksters that find immense joy in hiding within books, camouflaging themselves as text. They flatten out and contort their ink-like bodies to mimic handwriting and change information within books, and also enjoy nipping at the fingers of curious adventurers thumbing through tomes they shouldn't be. Inklings tend to have a specific page number they prefer to spend their time on, but can enter and exit a book even if it is closed. I recommend rolling a d20 or d100 to decide their favorite number. This can lead to some fun moments where you can ask a player character thumbing through a tome to roll a d20 or a d100 to see whether or not they flip directly to the page with the Inkling and get a bite attack on their hand. Although, as the DM, you can also just decide that they do that. Due to their unique abilities, Inklings are often sought out and befriended by wizards who employ the creatures to protect and further encode their spellbooks. Some Inklings, particularly those that reside within spellbooks, can learn up to 2 spells of any level, memorizing them while mingling with their pages in the book. The DM, that's you, chooses what spells. They can each be cast twice per day, regardless of level, because Fey magic. They don't have a lot of hit points, but their armor class is pretty decent thanks to their small size and speed. Within my homebrew world of Vassacre, there are certain places where the veil between planes grows thin, reaching its thinnest during the Harvest Peak Festival, which is essentially the fantasy equivalent of Halloween. During this time, many creatures cross over to the material plane from the Abyss, the Elemental Planes, as well as the Feywild and many others. Among these creatures are Inklings, entering the material plane to be scouted by the local wizards as their own personal book traps. If one of your players is a wizard, they could also potentially befriend one of these beings. Inklings are tricky and cunning due to their Fey nature, but love to be praised. A player can win their affection and partnership through flattery, or by providing a worthy enough offering of knowledge. Promises of certain spells may also convince an Inkling to join your arsenal. With all of that covered, let's make an encounter. Inklings are pretty easy to fit into any existing encounter, as all you really need to include them are books, inkwells, or a desk of some sort. They also vary in challenge rating, since they could possess anything from a cantrip and a 1st level spell to 2 9th level spells depending on where you place them, and what levels your players are at in their travels. For our purposes, we'll create a mid-level encounter in a powerful wizard's study. Schematics to this encounter can also be found in the description below, if you're interested in using it in your own campaigns. The party's been hired by the proprietor of a local magical oddities shop to infiltrate the study of her rival, a local evocation specialist with a penchant for keeping magical secrets from the rest of the community in order to drive up prices for his services. She's paying the party 50 gold each, as well as their choice of a magic trinket from her shop, if they can sneak in and liberate a spellbook from his study. She has it on good authority that he will be busy elsewhere during the Harvest Peak Festival, so that's the best time to get in and out unnoticed. The study itself is relatively harmless, aside from a curse on the lock that ages anyone who tries to pick it, 1d100 years halved. There's also a mimic beneath the desk that appears to be a simple lockbox, but it really will only mess with the party if they mess with it. There's a decoy book on the desk that, outside of a DC 15 Arcana check, appears to be the spellbook. If opened, the pages appear blank at first, but arcane glyphs and writings appear, forming slowly in ink upon the pages. The ink then pools near the player's thumb, touching the bottom of the page, and snap! The Inkling bites. Aside from its bite and scratch attack, this Inkling knows the Firebolt cantrip and the first level spell Thunderwave. Nothing to scoff at, but also nothing a party of adventurers can't handle. After defeating the Inkling and checking the book again, it's revealed to be a simple Blake tome. The real spellbook is on a bookshelf nearby, and contains 2 more Inklings. These ones, however, have been mingling with the real spells. One of them knows Modify Memory and Chain Lightning, while the other is packing Fireball and Disintegrate in its arsenal. The party can either hang around and fight the Inklings, or take the book and run. The Inklings will give chase, however, and may alert the partying townsfolk outside to the group's nefarious actions. And those, my friends, are Inklings. If you have any questions about anything that I covered, or if there's anything I forgot to cover that you need to know, ask me in the comments below. I do my best to respond to all that I can, and I want to create the best monsters that I can for all of you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you find a place within your campaign for these little inky boys and girls. Don't forget to subscribe for more homebrew monsters, D&D Pokemon fusions, fantasy art speed paints, D&D story animations, and more. I'll see all of you in the next episode, but until then, stay safe out there, adventurers.